AgroSuede, and welcome everyone to AgroSuede Backyard Garden with me, Mitchell Juno Suede. In this video feature, we're going to talk about, yet again, how to start a kitchen garden. Now, the first video I did on kitchen garden, I showed you what you could actually start off with, which was the celery. That's the best plant I'd recommend that you start off with, because most likely, from the time it sends out a few leaves, you will be tempted to actually use it in your cooking. Now, this plant I'm going to talk about is called thyme. Now, the thyme is a herbal plant. Some can actually grow out like the structure of a tree. Some actually can grow out as creepers. I would best recommend that you get the creeping ones. I'll tell you why soon enough. Now, the thyme is very easy to grow. All you need to do really is get a seedling. I would best also recommend that you get the seedling rather than the seeds, because since you're starting off, so I recommend that you actually plant seedlings and not seeds, because the seeds might not actually grow right away because you're starting off, you're new to it, or the seed might take longer than you expect, or you might not be experienced with the plant and the seedling might not actually survive if you plant the seeds, that is. But if you actually purchase the seedling, because most likely when you purchase it, the person that will be selling it to you will already ensure that it's actually mature enough to sell to you and it's not fragile and soft. The thyme do not actually require a lot of space to grow with the soil, that is. Because the problem with this one, I actually grew it out in a pot, but I would recommend that you grow it out in an open, shallow container, because it actually requires or desire more space to grow on top than below. Now, I'm quite sure the roots haven't reached at least half of this pot, because it's a very rooty plant. It won't require a lot of space on top for it to actually spread out, and as it's spreading out, it will actually start on small roots which will hook into the ground and take more nutrients and so on. That's why I'm saying it's a creeper. It requires about 12 inches, which is about a foot apart when you're planting it. Because I'm doing this video to actually show you how to plant it, I actually planted it very close, as you can see right now. But if you're going to plant it, I recommend at least a foot separated, because when it starts to grow, it will actually take over the area where you actually plant it. So ensure that you give it at least a foot between every seedling. Now, another thing that is required is a lot of sunlight. If you're going to grow it indoors, at least put your pot or put your shallow container in an area where the sun will actually come through, like your window sill. If you're going to do like me and actually put your kitchen garden on your veranda, like on the ledge of your veranda, put it in an area where they're getting a lot of sun. You might also assume that whenever you're planting a plant in a sunny area that you require to wet it often. But the thyme is not like that. I would best recommend that you wet it only when you notice that the soil is very dry, because it's actually a plant that can survive in dry areas, just like the rosemary. So now let's put kitchen garden on the side for a moment. Let me talk to you about backyard garden. If you're going to plant thyme in your backyard garden, I suggest that you plant it in an area where you might grow tomatoes, cabbages, broccoli, because thyme is a good companion plant for broccoli, cabbages, tomatoes, even Brussels sprouts. So crops like that, I suggest that you plant your thymes among it. Now back to the kitchen garden. Now, as I said, there's a reason why I recommended that you get the one that actually creeping, because little do you know, the thymes, or maybe you do know, the thyme is the plant which actually will regrow quick. So it is required for you to harvest it that you cut it. You don't need to actually pick every leaf because it's very small. So it's best recommended that you cut it, and that is how you ensure that your plant keep growing and that you will have enough for you to harvest every time. Ensure that you cut to harvest. You don't pick the leaves, you cut to harvest. And I will also best recommend that you cut when it's a good time to cut plants to encourage growth. So check your almanac, check your calendar for the moon. When the moon is coming up, cut so that it will send out new leaves as quick as possible. Do not cut when the moon is setting or when it's going down, back down, from full moon to go back down. Or do not cut when they're encouraging you to cut to discourage growth, because your plant will stay wetty or small, as it says. So remember, the first plant that I recommended that you grow for your kitchen garden is celery. Now I'm recommending that you grow thyme in a shallow pot. You don't necessarily have to do like me in a tall or long pot, but a shallow pot can actually work out because it requires space and not depth. Thank you very much for liking our video. Thanks for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for all those of you who have encouraged me to actually make good quality videos. I'm working actually on getting something, and pretty soon you will see it. So thank you very much. And remember, a backyard garden in some way will keep the doctors away. And AgroSuede is out.